Majority of suicide cases are men. The aftermath of a suicide, the friends, the family around. One thing that people commonly say is, I was just with that guy the other day. We are shying back from the solutions simply because the solutions are in public. Knowing is winning half the battle.
How has your relationship with your mother just shaped the person that you are today?
I think the sacrifices she made along the way, I think bringing up 6 children is definitely not an easy task. So she took care of things even when my father fell terminally ill. But our role as children eventually is to look after our parents. And it is through the love that they give us that we pass that back on to them.
My mom is the hero of my faith. She's the one who led me to Christ. I became a Christian at age 9. So you can imagine what teenage life looks like for a Christian kid. I'm that kid who has never smoked, never drank.
Maybe just a final word to those who have parents who maybe are struggling with illness and they feel like giving up.
Joy, this was not meant to be a Christian podcast. But I think Greg and I essentially have taken over.
I love it. It's very wholesome.
I used to be a very heavy drinker and a smoker. And through prayer and intervention that I can only describe as supernatural, God took it away from me just like that. Kiswahili ni ngumu.
Moses ni wewe tunategemea.
Jamani sijui. Haitoki, haikuji.
Haiji.
Never ever doubt God's goodness. And it is usually in your darkest moments that silently He's working in the background, paving a way just for you back into His light.
Actually, behind set, we were talking about therapy. So is it something that you've done with your wife?
I have done therapy with my wife and also done therapy by myself.
Okay.
In fact, during that whole marital spat we had, therapy is what helped me to just clarify what is happening and what's the problem. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the most disturbing statistic I picked up as I was interacting with my therapist. And he told me that the majority of suicide cases in this country, or actually even globally, are men. And when he extrapolates and looks at why is that the case, it's because most men just don't want to talk or don't know how to talk or don't have an avenue to talk because we are socialized to be in control. We are socialized to come up with solutions. You have to be the one people are looking at you for guidance, for leadership. And if you don't have it together, then you are the problem. There's something very wrong with you and you need to fix it. And you need to fix it quickly. Mm-hmm. And so there are men who are just carrying so much burden every day. They are in the office, they are entrepreneurs, they have bills pending, they have employees, they have suppliers, they have things going on. And then in the home front, things are not working. People are fighting. They're fighting with their spouse. Maybe their kids are teenagers, so it's that rebellious phase, and people are carrying so many things, and there's nowhere to just talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Moses, I just want to ask you a question, just tying to what Greg has talked about. Why is it that men just generally feel like they don't want to seek help or they don't want to talk to other people?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I can actually, when I think back now, let me use my own father as an example. Yeah, my dad was I think they call them the Uhuru generation, the people who came immediately after independence into the workplace and or university. That first generation of professionals and educated people and all. And my memory of my own father, my late father, was, I think the word I would use is, I don't know if the word a hard man, or I think the word is, those guys were just, I think the word is stoic.
Tough. Yes,
stoic. You did not sneak out his car. You did not mess around. When you brought back bad grades, he was not going to be nice with you. He tell you you're failing. The conversations were direct and clear.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
You say that.
He never said to you, and he never said to him, "I love you, Dad." That did not exist in that vocabulary.
Never.
When you talk about now feelings and therapies and all of nowadays, those guys were what we call hard men.
Yes. We're built different.
So even when he fell sick and eventually passed away, remember when us guys were like looking like, "Ati, Dad is sick."
Yes.
What do you mean? How?
He never showed it.
You never saw illness. You never saw failure. These guys were in control. Even your mom in his presence was that a fear-loving wife.
Exactly.
That God-fearing wife. In the sense, he was in charge. Right? Now, those are the role models that I grew up with. Right? And that meant that you do not show emotion. we never talked about love. You knew he loved you by what he did.
Yes.
He provided, he provisioned, you went to the best schools, you got food on your 3 square meals a day.
Yeah, he did not chase you.
When you're in hospital, he made sure you're okay. That is how love was communicated.
Right.
So we come from an upbringing where when I look at the typical African man, those stories you see on TV are not what we are operating in here. Okay? Let's be honest. That's where we come from. And that, I believe, is maybe part of the problem because we're not allowed to be in touch with our feelings. Something is going crazy. Even somebody has died. Even when you're at a funeral or something, your mom could even be looking at you like, "Are you actually trying to cry?" That doesn't operate like that. We don't
the
come
tears
from
will
that.
never fall.
That thing you see in America and all, we do not come from that. So
Right.
I think already the framework that we grew up with was that is how a man operates. You suck it in and you do what needs to be done.
Pillar of strength.
Yeah, things are thick.
Exactly.
You don't show you're cracking. You create a front of things are sour, even when things are falling apart left, right, and center, as they may be doing even right now. But you behave as if
Everything
I got
is
it under control.
Yes.
Number 2, look at the company you keep. All right. Now, many of us, we had similar upbringings. We see this as well. But there seems to be, especially where men are concerned, this behavior, or what I like to think of as almost people behaving as if they're immortal or somehow above things happening around them. Meaning, even when you're struggling and all, you presume you're going to fix it somehow.
Yeah.
Even when you're depressed or having a difficult time, you can't go talk to your mate or your friend and tell him, man, things are thick in the house.
Yeah.
Me and my wife are having drama. This is going on. Guys are just not talking. Meanwhile, look at the women, including people like my wife. Yani, those guys are always talking. There's a meetup, there's a conversation.
It's a forum.
Whatever. Sometimes she would even drop that we're discussing something and you're like, hey, you're in your mind, you're like, you mean you are discussing that thing about us with so and so? And you're like, But you know, she's also going through something similar. You know, that, oh, okay. Yeah. But as guys, you're like, that would I talk to my buddy John about that? No way. We don't discuss those things.
In fact, chances are your wife is speaking to her, but you and the husband
I don't know. I don't know that wavelength.
We don't have that connection.
In fact, us guys are fronting to each other as men.
Yeah,
They're behaving like things are sour, man. Hey,
Exactly.
in fact,
But the wife
another
know the
round.
truth.
Yeah.
Yes. They know the truth. They've already spoken.
The wives talk about the real issues. And,
Yes.
and I think that's part of the problem, that we have not been given an outlet for that.
Yeah.
What I've learned is that as my circles have changed, especially as I went from certain type of lifestyle, went into a very Christian foundational relationship, and the men around me, like, I've had a medical condition recently, and it means my mobility is constrained. But I had one of the guys come to my house the other day. I think it was there like for 3 hours. We had tea, lunch, and we were talking about things. But what you find is that there's an interweaving in our conversation about his work, his life, how he's coping with things, how I'm coping with things. What does my immobility mean? And we're having a conversation that I could never have with one of my mates that I used to hang out with, hanging out. We're talking about real life issues. When the food came, we prayed, and what I mean to say is that the company you keep, I think, is a very big predicator of how your mental health might be based on the kind of conversations you're having and the interactions you're having. And whilst you might not go to therapy, sometimes, as Greg has pointed out, just being able to verbalize and talk about it,
Exactly.
And I have to tell you another thing. Like I'm learning as I'm going through this season of mine where I've had to go through medical intervention and limited mobility and so forth, where now I've become wholly dependent on those who are around me, my family, my wife, my children. First of all, to be as accommodating as I need to be because I need their help, but also the fact that I've had to verbalize quite often things I can't do for myself or challenges I'm having even emotionally, which allows me to sort of feel better because I've actually expressed it, And I think, many maybe men or even particularly African men, I think we need to start verbalizing and going through that situation that is there. And I remember that time in my life, I went through some difficult issues. And I remember one of the men I was talking to for counsel told me something like, Moses, the funny thing is in life, there's nothing new under the sun or the sky.
I like that.
And I think it comes from an African proverb.
It's also in the Bible.
In the Bible. Yeah. And what I loved about that statement, and it's something that I always keep to myself, sometimes when you're struggling with something, the mere mention of it in a good network of people who you trust and respect, there'll usually be somebody in that room, in that moment.
That is actually
Is that the issue you're going through? You need nice.
Yes.
It's easy. In fact, I know a guy. The next thing, boom, boom, boom.
Sorted.
Yeah.
Or sometimes when you talk to elder people who are a bit older than you, the counsel they give you. So what is the issue? That one.
Yeah.
Do this, do this, do this. Done. And sometimes we just need to have those counsels, which I think women are doing exceptionally well compared to men.
Oh my God.
Where we just talk to the right people. The key word here is the right people.
Right people.
To get the right advice or even the right emotional support to take us in the right direction. Because unfortunately, sometimes when you talk to people who may not have your best interests at heart, could be jealous,
Exactly.
could have a hidden agenda or ulterior motives, the very thing they'll do is like, oh, now I have that piece of information on you, they'll actually put it against you.
Yes.
It's true.
Yes.
You know, if they have bad intentions.
Yes.
So that would be some of my recommendations.
Yeah, those are very good recommendations.
And the things that we see women do naturally,
Yes.
like when Grace was still in corporate, she'd have all these kinds of problems in the office, and she would come to me to vent. Now, in the initial days, as her husband and as just the person I am, when you come to me with a problem, Joy, I'm trying to, as I'm listening, I'm also crafting solutions. I'm trying to come up with how do I help you. And now she's telling me about people in the office who I don't know. I've never met them. I can't do anything. I have no access. I can't. Well, how am I supposed to help you?
Right.
One day I asked her, just point blank, like, why are you usually telling me this?
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, what do you want me to do with all this information?
Yes.
Do you know, I was shocked by her response as a man, coming with the perspective that Moses has painted, as we've grown up, to provide solutions, to be in charge, to be in control. Her answer was nothing. I don't want you to do anything. I want you to just listen.
Just listen.
And that's when it dawned on me that she processes verbally. So whatever issue she encountered in the office, just the mere fact that she's spoken it and told it to me already processes it for her. And she's telling me because I'm the most trustworthy person in her life.
Exactly.
I don't have any ulterior motives. I want to use this against her. I can't take it to do somewhere else.
Yes.
And for me, that is exactly what therapy did for me. Realizing that, this is the person. I will tell them everything.
Yes.
All the frustrations I'm feeling, especially things that I'm too afraid to say even to my wife. I'm like, I'll tell this person. And it ends here.
Exactly.
And he's not giving me any solutions. He's just there listening. And acknowledging that he has heard what I've said. And it is me in my speaking, in my verbalizing, that I'm also processing and I'm realizing, wait, it's not as terrible as it seemed in my head. In the theater of my mind, it was the end of the world. But out here, when I verbalize it, I'm like, oh,
okay.
the sun didn't, turn red. The sky didn't fall.
Everything is still fine.
So we can deal with this. We can actually put this in a different way.
Instead of bottling and bottling every single time.
Because that bottling is what leads to increased stress. It's what leads to people now devaluing themselves and thinking, how is it that I've struggled with this for 7 years, 10 years, 11 years? And then you're just like, then maybe it's I'm the problem. The issue is with me. And it keeps piling on and piling on. That's why you hear about suicides. That's why you hear of homicides and suicides. It's terrible that people get to that place where they have to explode for people to realize, oh, wait.
I should have been talking.
I didn't know. And the unfortunate thing is some of the stories you hear of, like the aftermath of a suicide, the friends, the family around, one thing that people commonly say is, I was just with that guy the other day. We even hung out for 6 hours.
Imagine.
He didn't say anything.
In fact, he was even laughing the
He was
whole time.
laughing with us, as in he seemed fine. Everything looked okay. And then
This happened.
dawns.
Yes.
Like he was not okay.
Yes.
And he just he didn't have an avenue where he felt safe to talk about this issue. And that is something I hope we can change. Because the reality, in fact, we were talking just now with Moses, is that there seems to be a problem with men's participation in society in general. Right now, you try and put together a forum for anything. You're talking about investing. You're talking about parenting. You're talking about anything that's important. It's the ladies who keep showing up.
Right.
And they show up in numbers. They even tell their friends. They bring their families. Men they may come, but they will be the minority. And I don't even know why that is the case. I can't explain it. Maybe it's just a place of ego. Maybe people just feel like, as a man, I shouldn't show that I don't know. People shouldn't get the perception that I don't have that figured out. And so I'm quietly struggling with my ignorance or with my handicap. And yet the solutions are right there.
Within reach. Right.
But we are shying back from the solutions simply because the solutions are in public.
Yes.
And people will see us.
And we want to look like we have it all figured out.
We want this solution in private.
Yes.
We don't want it oku in the limelight.
So I want to share something else with you, which is a bit personal. I went in with to have surgery and all for a condition, which was as a result of an injury. But in doing so, the doctors also understood there were other issues, other health-related issues. And it comes back to this simple thing that, again, men do very badly in terms of looking after our health. Again, women are the ones who do the tests and the checks religiously all the time. Guys, there's almost a phobia or a mental state where we're like, I'm okay.
I'm fine.
I'm not feeling anything.
Right.
Or better yet, why do I need to? And these are intelligent, educated people, including myself, who have always been like, I'll deal with it at some other point, or I'm sure things are okay. But after going through this experience, what I've learned is now I actually want to go to the hospital. I want to get checkups. I want to know where I am medically, because you start to realize that all these things are somewhat interconnected.
Yes.
And you find that it's not just one issue sometimes. If all these issues, when become compounded, actually make your situation worse.
Right.
But what's my point? I don't know why it is, but there seems to be this overarching behavior where, especially on matters health and medical, and doctors even tell you in your face, you guys, you men,
Please.
why don't you? Why are you not? We keep telling you guys. And we don't go and we don't do it. But now I have a new perspective. I'm like, now, hey, every 4 months, 6 months, whatever it's going to be, I'll be there, front of the line.
Yeah.
I want to know what's up.
Exactly.
See? And for me, that's been a real wake-up call or a blessing in itself. But broader to, again, the extended issues, including, as you said, whether it's, fatherhood or work-related issues or whatever, guys not talking, guys not finding out things. I don't know where it comes from, but it's almost like a default setting to not want to know.
And it's such a defeatist philosophy. As I was growing up as a teenager, the one thing, the most important principle that has guided my life is I can't remember why I heard this phrase or this saying, but they simply said, knowing is winning half the battle.
Yeah.
I'm just like, just knowing. Not even doing anything.
No assumptions.
Just understanding something. Just knowing that it's happening already makes you win half the battle.
Exactly.
So knowing about your health, knowing about yourself, your self-awareness, knowing about important things like, that affect your family, your parenting style, your finances, how to manage them, your investments. Just knowing wins you half the battle. And then the other half is won by now your actions, what you do with that information.
Right.
And so when men sit back and say, I don't know.
Yes.
For me, it's just like, oh my God.
But that's most of them.
Yes, most of the men
it's
actually.
Unfortunate.
Yes. And we need to get out of it.
Yes. I don't know how to get people out of that. At least I try in my own circles. I challenge people. I challenge the men in my sphere of influence. Just by sharing what I know. I didn't always know about therapy and its benefits. So when I see someone struggling, I'll be advocate. I'll advocate. Yeah.
Right.
And then, if you don't want to go for therapy, then talk to me.
Right.
And then I'll be that listening ear. I'll be that person you can open up to and talk to, and I will preserve your confidence. And you don't have to worry about not having someone to talk to.
Yes.
Mentorship. I mentor a few young men, and it's uncanny just how endemic that. There's so many young men who want to be mentored, but they don't know where to start or who to approach or how to make that approach. There is just a reluctance for men out here, the ones especially who have experience, who are on this other side of life and career, to say, if you are looking for a mentor, I am available. Just presenting yourself, making yourself available. I challenge any men who are watching, if you're able to just step out of yourself and present yourself as available, you'll be surprised at how many younger men will be willing to engage with you. because most of them are looking around and all they're seeing are ladies. They're seeing the ladies are the ones who are making the
Empowering
big
each other.
moves. They're the ones empowering each other. Or they have conferences, or it's ladies only. Or they have a forum, it's ladies only. Where are the men only forums? Where are the, or even just family open? It's open to both men and women. Even those ones, women are dominating, and so the men are feeling, I'll figure this
Just
out
keep
on my
sitting
own.
back.
Yeah, I'll figure out in a private way, something that is not so in the limelight and public, how to fix my issue or how to navigate my career. Having a supportive wife, having a supportive family, because my mother has also been a very pivotal woman in my life. The way she raised us.
I love that you've talked about that. And thank you so much for everyone who's still watching up to this point. I think we are unpacking so many things that are assumed so many times. So it's good that you talked about your mother, because we were to close the conversation talking about our heroes, who are our mothers. Moses, I just wanted to come to you. How has your relationship with your mother just shaped the person that you are today?
Okay, so my mom passed away a number of years ago. But of course, there's that moment until then, our relationship, mom. First of all, we're a big family. We had six siblings, 4 boys, 2 girls. My mom, if I can go to some of my earliest memories, was very nurturing, very caring. She was a very strong complement to my dad in the sense that she was the homemaker. He was the person focusing on work and stuff. She was exceptional. It's only in history and in reflecting upon it as an adult and all that, I started to really understand how exceptional she was, especially around things like inculcating our value systems, bring us up in the right way.
Right.
The way that, she took care of things even when my father fell terminally ill. She held everything together. And she didn't necessarily have the education. My dad was running an engineering company. She obviously didn't do engineering, but she kept things going. She kept things going as long as she could. And I think the sacrifices she made along the way, I think bringing up 6 children is definitely not an easy task.
It is not easy.
But the sacrifices she must have made to bring us all well in a wholesome way, looking after us, being loving, looking after my dad even when he was not well, taking care of the family after he passed on, which also was a period when, of course, times got leaner for the family, financially and all. And I mean, she held it together as long as she could. And I think even just her fortitude. I remember when, eventually at some point she was diagnosed with cancer, which eventually she died from. But watching her also go through that, which was very painful because I did a lot of the caretaking at that point. She stayed with me here in Nairobi and I had to watch her go through treatments and stuff. And I think there's this really strange moment in life where you see your parents taking care of you, and then there's a switch that starts to happen where you start taking care of them. And there's only one of my family who's still in the country after many years. All of them have moved on to other countries and so forth. I became the primary caretaker at some point. Then she moved in with my sister in Tanzania at some point. But what I reflect upon is, just the goodness that comes from mothers and how they make us so good. And I think I have some interesting memories. I remember one when I was doing my O-levels, and it was the time my dad was still in hospital, and I did quite well, which was kind of surprising at the time because I remember my headmistress at the time telling me the way your grades looked in your mocks, it looks like you're going to be in your younger brother's year next year. And I know it was brilliant, but it was brilliant because the fear of me having to repeat in my brother's class. That thing, you're the bigger brain.
It motivated you.
I don't know what happened. That lady till today, I have so much respect for her because she said to me exactly what I needed to hear to outperform.
Yes.
Yeah, I came back and I crushed it. And I'll never forget 2 things. One is when we walked into school to get my grades. And the ladies because the boarding school, the ladies who were looking after us were dancing. They were dancing for me. They're like, Moses, you can't believe how well you've done. I don't even see the grades. And they were dancing. And then my mom started dancing with them. Even she was like, really? Really? Like she couldn't believe it. And you can't imagine what that felt like as a son. And then having to go to the hospital, I think the same day with the grades. Yeah. And my dad at that point was incapacitated. He couldn't really talk. And he actually tried to talk. And he looked at the grades and he had tears in his eyes. And he was just like, he said, you've done well. He actually said it. He had tubes and things, but he said it. He couldn't believe it. Wow. But even then, I looked at my mom's face as well. And, just to realize at that point in time that it was through her nurturing that I was able to perform. It was through the fact that she was holding everything together that made me able to do what I was able to do. And, further on, obviously when she was going through a illness and all that, I think for me, it was just that moment of truth where you realize that our role as children eventually is to look after our parents. And it is through the love that they give us that we pass that back on to them in the way that we look after them. And I think for me, those are sort of some of the reflections I have when I think of my mom. Yeah.
I really like that.
For me, my mom is the hero of my faith. She's the one who led me to Christ as a young boy. I think, I was 9 years old. She was the first one, like in our family, the greater family that I knew of, who became a Christian, as in like born again, changed churches. We used to be a Catholic family. She changed. We started going to a whole new church. And I remember in my early struggles as a Christian, struggling with, I became a Christian at age 9. So you can imagine what teenage life looks like for a Christian kid.
You're an outlier.
Oh man, yes. I was the outsider in everything. I was, guys are going out for, experimenting with cigarettes and with drinks, with drugs. I couldn't participate in those things, and as a result, I was just left out of plans. So if you want to have a good time, don't invite Greg.
Don't call Greg. That's terrible.
So you can imagine, and maybe that's why I gravitated towards church, because now I found other teenagers with similar values, and we had lots of fun. We had camps, we had our own concerts, we had things going on. So I don't feel like I missed out on anything.
Right.
Really. So I'm that kid who has never smoked, never drank, didn't do anything.
I wish I was you.
Yes.
I did all of that.
Those things. I come from a family of 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. For her, there was no delineation about gender. When it came to chores,
everyone is equal.
Everyone can cook, everyone can clean, everyone can be sent, everyone can do things. So everyone is self-sufficient in their own way, and you help each other. She always used to tell us that the 4 of you are all you will have at the end of life. Apart from your spouses and your children, the 4 of you are you're bound together for life. So it is important that you already know how to depend on each other and to rely on each other. So it's just something that was inculcated in us by our mom.
Age.
Yes, and I saw my mom really drive that agenda, as in that thing for togetherness. You can't be the one who's succeeding on your own and shining on your own, and your siblings are
just
struggling.
There. Yeah.
No, she wants none of that.
Hold each other's hands.
Bring each other up.
Yes.
You hold each other accountable as well. So if I'm struggling with something and my siblings have already figured things out,
let them hold your hand.
Let them hold my hand.
Exactly.
In fact, let them carry me.
Yes. On their back. Yes.
Kabisa. So I have seen how her faith has been pivotal throughout her life, as far as I can remember, that she has been a woman of faith. She has been the one who is praying for us. She's the one who is showing up for family gatherings. And even in those gatherings, people are looking to her for like spiritual leadership. She's the one who was like really in the front line of becoming a Christian and faith. And so faith became my most important thing for me. As in, my faith to this day is the most important thing about me, about Greg. There is no Greg without my faith in Christ. And that I credit entirely to my mother.
I really love the impact that your mothers have had in your lives as men, as gentlemen, and also to any mother who's watching and you just feel like you're not figuring anything out. Things are just not falling into place. Things are not working out the way you want them to work out. Maybe you're lacking that livelihood. You can't take your kids to school. Greg has said faith. Yeah. Believe in God and everything shall fall into place. And Moses, your story is beautiful of just how you became a caregiver to your parents and gave them the same love. So maybe just a final word to those who have parents who maybe are struggling with illness and they feel like giving up. Talk to them.
It's never easy. It's not easy. it's very painful to see that you are able to one hand, provide and provision as required, but also the fact that in the game or the journey of life, we are all going in that same direction. And there's a season for everything.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I'll say is that when you do have such a situation going on in your life, it can be very difficult financially. It can be very difficult emotionally. And what I would say is that just remember at the end of the day that they are the same people who brought us into this world, in the sense that they nurtured us, they grew us, they made massive sacrifices to have the lives that we have today. And it's only natural and normal, therefore, to give back in a way that is loving and honest, and in a way that is to respect that and to appreciate that and do what you can for them. Because eventually, one day, you will be that parent who will be relying also on your children to also look after you. So think about the fact that we keep passing it on, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think just to be grateful for the goodness they bring into our lives.
I really like that. What is one last word, that a sentence probably, that you'd like someone to take away from this entire conversation?
When it comes to the issues of life, don't shy away from talking and from seeking help. If it's really important, then surely it can be spoken about. Yeah. Think about, we've been conditioned, especially in our school system, unfortunately, that asking questions indicates that you didn't understand, or that you are slower than the rest of the class. I've gotten to where I am because I asked questions. And with time, I learned how to ask the right questions the right way. And it's built my career over 22 years as a software engineer, now a CEO for a company. It's given me a lovely wife because I asked all the right questions when we were dating. It's given me faith because I also asked lots and lots of questions. Whenever I faced, dark chapters of my life, my faith was still intact. I never wavered because I did not shy away from asking questions. And I think if you acclimatize yourself to asking questions, that it's so much easier to learn things and to figure things out if you just ask.
Just ask. Yeah. Just ask. Very simple, very cliche, but very meaningful. Just ask. What about you, Moses?
Something interesting happened to me this week. And I know that, Joy, this was not meant to be a Christian podcast. But I think Greg and I essentially have taken over.
I love it. Yeah, it's very wholesome.
Because it kind of brings us to where we are today and who we are today. Yeah. And I had this moment where, social media-wise, like I told you, I'm going through this health issue and learning to operate in a way that I have to be dependent on people. And, of course, in the back of my mind as an entrepreneur, there's so many questions. My ability to function, to generate income and all is also a bit compromised. And through all of these things, I have been praying and I come from another angle to all of this. I know this is meant to be a parting shot, but, one of the things that happened through my faith is that I used to be a very heavy drinker and a smoker currently. And through prayer and intervention that I can only describe as supernatural, God took it away from me just like that. Wow. I literally prayed. I surrendered the addiction and everything to Him. I parked my ego, which is one of the things that men struggle with. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. I had to kind of park my ego and say, God, I need your help now. And as I'm going through this particular health condition, I've been in a lot of prayer, a lot of things. We pray as a family as well. And for me, the thing that I'm taking away from this is the moment where I was posting an update because some things I could only describe as miraculous are happening in my business. My business is thriving. Things are turning. And I'm sitting there, of course, the usual challenges, but I'm almost sitting there saying, how is this even possible? Given that I'm somewhat incapacitated, how these things working out. And I just had a moment of inspiration where I was writing on socials. And then I came to a point where when I come to a platform like LinkedIn, I know this sounds maybe probably trivial, I see it as kind of like my official platform, like where I only speak things that are work related or thought leadership. I don't pass on personal this is happening in my life moment kind of stuff. But I was sitting there like in even doubting that, and I'm saying, look, God has given you so much. How dare you think about whether it is appropriate or not to share this thing? And in that moment of truth, I kind of just said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to write this thing that speaks to my religion or my faith or my belief in God. And I was surprisingly shocked at the responses I had gotten from that post because it had no graphics, it had no fanciness. It was just something to the effect of, never ever doubt God's goodness. And it is usually in your darkest moments that silently He's working in the background, paving a way just for you back into His light.
Wow.
And I don't know where that came from. My sister even called me from outside the country like, what is this you posted? This is amazing, and I just came. And I just thought to myself, I can't hide what is true and what the blessing I'm getting. And I just posted it. And now I'm kind of like saying to the world, I don't care what you think of me. Maybe you like me or hate me if I'm putting these things out. But this is the goodness I'm seeing from God.
Yes.
And it just told me that at the end of the day, stay to your truth. Stick with your truth. Don't worry what the world thinks good or bad of you, but stick and stay in your truth. That's the parting shot I'll give people.
Yeah. Never doubt God's goodness in your life, right? I think it's so powerful to hear men talking about this so deeply, passionately. It's life-changing. And I think at the center of it all, and especially the way, Moses, you've said, you're able to battle addiction and just grow out of it with God, putting God at the center of it all.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that is a very good takeaway and a very beautiful note to end the podcast with. Just rely on God. And I think I also just give it a scripture. We have 2 Corinthians, I think it's 2:19, that talks about His grace is sufficient for you. And His power is made perfect in weakness. So where you feel like you're in a rabbit hole that no one can get you out of, remember His grace is very sufficient for you. Yes, a round of applause for our gentlemen. I really feel like we'll have another conversation with you both.
No problem.
Yeah.
For it.
Yes.
I think a conversation we definitely need to have now that we're both entrepreneurs. I think that the journey of the entrepreneur
Exactly.
I think that's a conversation that we could definitely have an hour or so.
Absolutely.
Just to talk about what goes into that and what people can learn from that and what they should know about that.
Exactly. And running a business with your wife.
Yes.
Also, what are the challenges?
And this is the second business we're running together.
Wow.
So we
something must be working
we have
right.
a lot to share.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And I know our audience would really love to have you back. Okay. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for all the wisdom that you've shared on this podcast.
Thank you also for having us.
And what a brilliant way to close out. But before we close out, we always have a Swahili segment to see how good you are.
She said, this is unfair.
He's about to take this home.
But I'm imported, man. I was transported and imported. I'm not the original.
He's not original.
But at least I got my Mombasa angle.
Yeah. Right.
You have
Kidogo.
big advantage. Anyway, let's go.
So Greg, you're saying you're not a patriot?
No, I am a patriot.
But you're
not. Even my thoughts are in English. So that just tells you everything.
You think in English, then he translates.
Then I translate. So,
then he translates.
All
right, so we'll have a couple of them. So first question, and maybe any of you can answer. Feel free to answer if you know it. So legacy. What is legacy in Swahili?
Wow.
Kiswahili ni ngumu.
Moses ni wewe tunategemea.
Jamani sijui. Haitoki, haikuji.
Haiji. All right, legacy is urithi. Yes. What is artificial intelligence? And I remember PS Rosalind talked about it.
Mm-hmm. You have it. I'm sure you have it.
I have it. I want to.
You have it.
No,
you have it.
I don't.
Akili mnemba.
Yes, you got it.
Akili mnemba.
Yes, or akili unde. Yes. What is an entrepreneur in Swahili?
Mfanya biashara.
Hapana. That is a businessman. It can pass, but we need the Swahili word of it. I don't even think you guys would get this.
That's the word
it's called
Amna. I don't have an answer.
You don't have anything? No. Mjasiri amali. Jasiri amali.
It makes sense.
It makes sense.
I hear it, yes. It takes courage. Wow, it takes so much courage to get into entrepreneurship. Yes.
Yes. Amali. So sister-in-law?
Shemeji. My God, my Swahili is so bad.
Moses, Jamani.
Yeah, my input.
GMO. So sister-in-law is dada mkwe.
Yes.
Dada mkwe, mama
Yes.
mkwe. And then finally, patriotic. This one you have to get
Zalendo.
it. Very nice. You got that one.
No, I think I've been in Nairobi for too long. My Swahili is got.
Moses is still loading. All right. So we've come to the end of this podcast, and thank you so much. Although your Kiswahili needs a bit of polishing, and you need to start teaching AI and digital skills in Swahili.
Kiswahili.
Hey, kuna venye.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge over to you.
We'll see. Okay.
I did training once in a digital training I did in Tanzania, and I had to switch into Swa at times.
Oh, how hectic.
It was hard.
I can only
You could see
imagine.
them smiling and grimacing when you're saying certain things like, hey, what's happening?
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming to Be That Woman podcast. And we are excited about the great things that you are doing in your lives, and also just talking about the women that are shaping your lives as well so beautifully. So we're excited to see the future for all of you.
Thank you, Sana. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having us, Joy.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks
so much for
that.
coming.
Thanks for all that you're doing as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. All right. So if you've come this far, remember to subscribe, give us a follow. And this is the last episode of season 2, because you're getting to season 3 bigger and better. And if you couldn't tell with this episode that we just had, just imagine what is coming up in the lineup. So thank you so much for all the support. 8,000 plus subscribers. From 27th of March up to now, 5 months of great impact. So let's keep pushing it up a notch. See you in season 3. Thank you, guys.